Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Sabrina Young, and I'm with Young's Daughters Funeral Home. And I get the pleasure of introducing you to a newfound friend. His name is Executive Director Christopher Green. He is of Rosewood Retirement Community. And I'm really excited to introduce him to you because he has been in the healthcare for about 20 years come May. He started off as a CNA and then went into billing and accounting and then into management. He's been the business officer, the HR manager, and most recently the marketing before his role as an executive director at Rosewood. And so I'm really excited. He has been such a power supporter for Young's Daughters. And so, Christopher, I really want to say thank you for being here with us.
Well, you're very welcome, and it's a pleasure to being here and to be able to spread some information about our community.
Absolutely. So what makes you eligible for an assisted living facility? Many of my families want to know. So if you can enlighten us with that, that'd be great.
Sure. So Rosewood is a type B assistant living. There's a type A and a type B. Type B is where we have 24-hour caregivers, not certified aides. And we do have a licensed nurse that is Monday through Friday. That's our requirement. Type A is a little bit more independent, so it's a transitional phase. So if you are in from the home to independent living to a type A, you can even go into a type B or anywhere in between. So it's basically somebody who's going to need assistance with activities of daily living, which is also known as ADL. So that's going to be helping with transportation, medication management, bathing, cooking, laundry. So those are the things that we get to help and manage with those. So if your loved one is kind of struggling with that, those are the things that we can take on. And if you're a caregiver and you're doing that, we would be the supplement to that. So we would be the one replacing you. So that way you go back to your role as, mom, as the daughter or the granddaughter and such, or son and grandson. But for those who are having some difficulties with some ADLs, you would be the one that would be appropriate for the assistant living. And it's also somebody who would be appropriate, would be someone who can evacuate in the building in the event of an emergency within 15 minutes, so with little to no assistance at all. So those are somebody
That's a really neat way to describe it, actually, because I haven't heard many people say, well, I don't know if I need assistance or if I really qualify. So I'm glad that you're coming out and saying, what really does that look like? It looks like if you can leave, and get up and get to an exit, then this is kind of for you. If you need small assistance and maybe, you're just having a little bit of trouble and you need that assistance, this facility is definitely for you. It's beautiful. And I can't wait to hear more about your facilities and amenities. But does Rosewood take short term? We talked about a little bit about the long term, but does it take short term?
Yes, it does actually. So we've started a respite program. So a lot of people hear the word respite and they think of other services like hospice. So this is a respite program to the sense of ideally for the caregiver. So mom or dad is still living with you, the son or daughter, and you are the primary caregiver, and you're going to a wedding, or you're just simply burnt out. And so it's a place that you can come. We become the caregivers, give you the break, and it's $150 a day. So you kind of control your budget on that. So we ideally like to see about 2 weeks a commitment with that, just because the first week is just kind of getting to know the building and the other residents, and then that second week is really trying to get the end of that groove. But you can do it for caregiver burnout. You can also do it as a transitional test to see if if your loved one is going to acclimate well to an assistant living, because that's one of the biggest fears. If you're talking to a resident or current residents, one of their biggest fear is, well, I was scared I was going to get placed into a facility and no one's going to come see me. I'm not going to have any friends, and which is simply not the case. Once they hear, they tend to flourish. So you have that quality of life that comes back. So it's really nice to see that. Yeah, so the caregivers will come in, they're like, what, mom did really well during this respite stay. Let's talk about placing her here permanently. So they don't even actually leave. They can either stay in the apartment they were in at the respite, or we might switch them to another apartment. But we have some options there for the respite care program.
Oh, that is good to hear that, you can, as the caregiver, you can take a break if you need to, you can get your errands done. And having that backup reassurance to have that extended family feel is so important during the time of caregiving. And so I definitely hats off to you guys for being so flexible. Um, let's see, how does one pay? You said that there was like a daily rate opportunity, but how do you, I guess, how does one pay for your services?
Sure. So we have three different categories here. Most of the assistant livings are either private pay and long-term care insurance. We actually are very fortunate that we have a Medicaid certified facility. So we can also take Medicaid Star Plus waiver. So privately would be a private pay. So you can pay for your studio, your 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom is what we have options for. And we have everything from a standard to a premium and anything in between. So if you want something that's a totally remodeled apartment, we have that, and we have something that's for an everyday budget as well. So we can really accommodate just about anybody when it relates to private pay. And then we have a combination of those who are private pay with long-term care insurance. So they've gotten policies with long-term care insurances. So they come into the facility, we provide the documentation, and then the family will turn that in for reimbursement. So those are really nice policies. So if you have those are really nice to have, because it gives you that sense of ease and calm, like I can pay for this and still get the quality of care that I need. And then lastly, it's going to be the Medicaid program, the Star Plus waiver. So that is the Medicaid community-based program with the waiver. And the waiver part of it is that they're waiving the requirement for you to be in the community, but allowing you to be in an assisted living. So it's a little slightly different than nursing home Medicaid, but it's the same application. And if anybody ever has any questions or needs assistance filling that out, I'll be more than happy to look at those. I really like doing that for folks, and that's a free service that I provide.
And that's wonderful. Many people don't go the extra mile for families. They just kind of, here's what we got and that's it. And they don't look out for resources and additional stuff. So again, it's very impressive to see that the communities like yours are striving for real true customer service and really trying to help the families. So is an assisted living facility, is it the same as a nursing home? I get this one quite often.
Yeah, it's actually not. In some aspects, they kind of are, but for the most part, they're really not. So the assisted living facility is going to be more independent, people that can transfer and toilet themselves. Although we do have people that have incontinent, issues, which we can still manage that. But it's really the differences is our licensures are different. So I have caregivers, not CNAs, and then I'm only required to have access to a nurse. To an LVN, whereas a nursing home is required to have licensed nurses 24/7. So it's a little bit different acuity levels. So the nursing home is going to provide wound care. They're going to provide rehab or rehab to home. We don't do those type of things here, not on our staff. Now, what you can do is stack services. So if you have a small manageable wound and you have home health can manage that. So we can do certain things within our scope of practice, but you're stacking those services. So you would have home health come in and to manage that part of your wound until it's healed. I use wound as an example. Or if you had a recent fall, but it didn't really need a long-term care stay where you need to do rehab to home, you can do rehab in your apartment, and that actually plays into the quality of life. You can actually stay in your apartment. You're not going anywhere, because their apartment essentially, as it relates to assisted living, is the same as if it was an apartment in a senior community in the community out in the public. So their home is their home. It is an apartment.
Very nice. Very well displayed there. And what happens if you're no longer eligible for an assisted living facility? We talked about stacking services, but what if you're just truly not eligible anymore for that? And walk us through what happens there.
Sure. So we have what we call aging in place. That's within our practice of our scope for an assisted living. So that's really the first thing that we look at is You know, as an example, we have somebody here that's been here for 9 years, and this person has aged in place. So if she were to come in at her current condition, we wouldn't be able to take her because of where her acuity level is now. Whereas 9 years ago, we could. So we aged in place. Now, whenever she gets to the point where we can't manage her anymore, we start asking the families, you know, hey, we need to start stacking the services, getting those service lines in line and getting ready to go, and then we continue to go with them. So they supplement our care. Then once that kind of plays out, we start having IDT meetings, which is interdisciplinary team meetings with the family. So nursing and clinical staff with administrative staff would meet with the families and to kind of discuss the current needs. And then based off of what their needs are, we kind of go over a discharge plan as to what the next step is. And that's truly going to be the next step would be nursing home, long-term care.
Okay. Well, I really sincerely appreciate you coming out and getting on our YouTube to educate the families. I hope our paths get to cross more. Families, if you have any questions about Rosewood retirement community as an assisted living facility, please go ahead and add it down in the comments, and then I will send those over to Mr. Green to answer for you. If you're wanting to take a tour, we definitely encourage you to go out, take a look at that. He is available through his cell phone number. So I do want to leave that with you guys. It's 469-753-2453. If you are wanting, again, to reach out to the main office, you can certainly get through him that way, but his cell phone is pretty available. He's a go-getter with his families. And so hats off to you, Christopher, for doing an amazing thing for our community.
Okay, well, I appreciate the opportunity and the chance to, you know, to answer these questions for you.
Absolutely. Well, anybody, make sure you like, subscribe, and share so that way we can get our community the resources that they need. Until our next video, have a great day.
Thank you.